Hello there, I'm Akaze, the project maestro. Yes, the life cycle of a construction project is primarily divided into two phases, the pre-contract phase and the post-contract phase. So in this video, I'm going to be enlightening you about what these two phases of a construction project are and the activities that are involved in the two phases of the project so that when your project starts, you'll be able to identify and undertake them. Yeah, so are you ready? Let's dive into it. Yes, so I want you to take note of the prefixes pre and post, pre contract, post contract. Take note of those words, two prefixes, and the word that is common to both of them, contract. Let me put it this way: the pre contract word is phase, the pre contract phase is the entire period of the project that takes place before the contract for the project execution is awarded to the contractor. In other words, the pre-contract phase is all the activities, all the activities that go on in a project before the contract is awarded to a contractor for execution. That is what we call the pre-contract phase. So that is right from the point of the client, you the client deciding that, oh, I want to undertake this project, up to the point of that project or the contract for that project being awarded to the contractor. That is what we call the pre-contract phase. Now, what is the post-contract phase? The post-contract, post means after. Post-contract phase is the entire period of the project that starts after the contract has been awarded to the contractor for project execution. All the activities that take place after the project has been awarded, a contract has been awarded to the contractor, up till the completion of the project. That is what we call the post-contract phase. So now, having been done with explaining what the pre-contract, or briefly explaining what the pre-contract and post-contract phase of a construction project is, let's go into what do these phases entail. What do these phases contain? What are the activities that exist or that take place, within these phases of a construction project? So, are you ready? Let's get into it. So here, I'm going to be listing the activities, the events or activities that take place in each of the phases, step by step, sequentially. I'm going to list them in this section of the video. So number one, under the pre-contract phase, what are the things that take place under the pre-contract phase? The first thing first is the project conception. What is the project conception? Project conception is when you, the client, decides that I want to undertake a building project. For what? Maybe a personal home, maybe it's a warehouse that you want to use to store your goods, or it's a hotel, you want to build a hotel, or it's a school, you want to start a school, you want to construct a school building, or you're a company, you want to build your own corporate head office, or you want to build a branch office, whatever the case may be. The first activity that takes place in the pre-contract phase is what the project conception, where the idea comes, where the client bets the idea of that project. So that's project conception. So the next activity under the pre-contract phase is what hiring of consultants. Of course, after the client has decided that, oh, I want to undertake this project. The next thing is for you to engage consultants. Is for you to engage consultants. I've done a video. I'm going to link it up somewhere here. I've done a video that talks about the 7 professionals that what you need to engage if you want to undertake a construction project. So towards the end of this video, I'm going to highlight it, but I'm also going to link it in the description. So kindly go watch that video. Now the third one is presentation designs. Presentation designs. Uh, this is done by the architect. The architect based on your idea, based on the concept you have as a client, the architect puts together a presentation design. Okay, these are the designs just to show or to mirror your ideas. They are not what we call working drawings. They are not, but they are just like presentations, just to show you an idea of what you have in mind. Yeah, so the architect does that. Preliminary budget estimates. That's the next thing. That's the next activity that takes place under the pre-contract phase. Preliminary budget estimate is when the quantity surveyor does that. The quantity surveyor will tell the client ahead of time that, okay, based on the sketches or the presentations that the architect has done, this particular project of yours may cost X naira, may cost X naira. That's what a preliminary budget estimate does. It's not a bill of quantities. It's not detailed like a bill of quantities. It just a like a just like an overlook. It just gives a brief look at what the cost might be. So the client begins to prepare himself, begins to prepare a budget. That's the essence of what preliminary budget estimates. Yeah. So another activity that takes place in the pre-contract phase is what review of designs and budget estimates. Of course, after the architect has done his his presentation designs, and the QS has also the quantity surveyor has provided preliminary budget estimates, and the client has looked at both of them. Oh, I like this design. Oh, what what may this design cost? And then the QS says, oh, it might cost this. The client is able to say, okay, I think I can foot the bill. Or, oh, that figure is quite high. It's more than what I can foot. I mean, it's more than what I can afford. Then of course, there needs to be a review. The architect goes back with the QS and says, okay, this and this and this is what we can shove off the design so that the cost can come down. If the client's budget is well below what is estimated to be the project cost. So that's review of what designs and what budget estimates. Another activity that takes place under the pre-contract phase is what preparation of what bills of quantities, or what we call contract documents. Contract documents include the bills of quantities, specifications, contract contract details and things like that. Articles of agreement and things like that. That's what the conservator prepares that. So those contract documents will be prepared. These bills of quantities are firm. I mean, they are prepared based on the final drawings that the architect produces after the various reviews in terms of cost, reviews in terms of design. The final design that the architect produces, the quantity surveyor will use those designs to prepare what these bills of quantities, specifications, and the rest of it. Yes. So after that, the next activity that takes place in the pre-contract phase is the invitation of what contractors to tender. Now the quantity surveyor has done a bill of quantities, a priced one and unpriced one. The unpriced one is sent out to contractors to tender, or contractors are invited to tender, and they are giving those blank bills of quantities to price. Now, after that, the next activity or event in the pre-contract phase is what we call tender analysis and what reporting. After the contractors have tendered, the invited contractors have tendered for or quoted or tendered for the project using the goods or quantity, the quantity surveyor's job is to review those tenders, review them, analyze them, and report on them. Now, when he reports on them, the next thing that needs to be done is to invite those contractors for negotiation. Of course, the quantity surveyor in his report to the client will suggest, out of maybe 3 or 4 contractors, depending on the number that were invited, the quantity surveyor is going to recommend to the client that, look, contractor A or contractor X should be invited for tender negotiation. So there's a tender negotiation. Of course, what the negotiation is. The prices, the cost, and then also the contractor's capabilities will also be looked at and things like that. And then eventually, when the client and the quantity surveyor and the other consultants, they discuss and agree on who is the best contractor that they want to go with, then that contractor is invited to be awarded the contract. So the final activity or event within the pre-contract phase is the contract award. Like I said, when I started, I said the difference or the dividing line between the pre-contract phase and the post-contract phase is that time when, or that moment, or that time when the contractor what is awarded what the contract to execute what the project. So that contract award marks the end of what the pre-contract is. So now we go to the post-contract. What are the activities that take place in the post-contract phase? Of course, the first one is what project planning. Of course, after the contractor has been awarded the project, awarded the contract to execute the project, then comes project planning. Of course, within the contractor himself, and also the client and the consultant, need to begin to plan. Okay, how long is the project going to take? What are the resources required in the project? Okay, the contractor, how many contractors do we have? Is the client procuring? Is the contractor providing every? Is the contractor handling all the work items in the project, or is the client going to provide some materials? Things like that, where you're going to source for equipment, source for materials if the client is procuring some materials, things like that. Those are things that what go on within what the phase of what within the activities of what project planning is very very important, because it is key to the success of what the project. Then the next activity under the post contract stage is what site handover and what mobilization. Of course, the client, once the contractor has been awarded the project, and then project planning has been done, the contractor and the site, the location where the project is going to be executed, is officially handed over what the contractor, and then the contractor what mobilizes his workers, his equipment, all his resources that he needs, moves what to the site. So that's the next activity under the post contract phase. Of course, now going forward, the contractor starts the project. Another activity that takes place during the post-contract phase is payment recommendations. Of course, at the various times, the contractor will request for money. Depending on what was discussed or what was agreed in the negotiations, the contractor will be paid at different times within the project. So when those times come and the contractor says, "Oh, I need payment," the quantity surveyor comes, reviews, determines if actually the contractor needs payment or not, and then approves exactly what payment is due to the contractor. So that's payment recommendation, a very important thing that takes place during the post-contract phase. During the post-contract phase, the next thing that happens also while the contract project is on is what valuation of variations. Sometimes as the project goes on, the client might decide to change some aspects of the work, some aspect of the project, might decide to change some specifications of materials in the project, or it might decide to change the structure of the project. All these amount to what variations, of course, and of course the additional costs that will be due to the contractor. It is the quantity surveyor's job to value what those variations. So it's a critical part of what the post contract what activities. Yeah. So towards the tail end of the project, another activity that takes place, which is very important, is project closeout and what handover. Of course, when the contractor is deemed to have completed the project, there are a number of activities that take place to close out the project, like snagging, checking to see if there are any defects in the building, and then if there are, the contractor will be asked to make good or to amend those defects, So those are the things that take place in the project closeout, and then of course eventually the project is handed over to the client. Then of course the last thing that takes place is final account. The quantity surveyor we prepare the final account for the project. And the final account is something that just tells the client how much has been spent on the project, how much the contractor is still being owed, how much he needs to be paid, now that the project is over, and things like that. So generally, those are the activities under the post-contract phase of a construction project. Based on what you have learned in this video, when next you are ready to commence your project, you know what you need to do. You know what takes place in the pre-contract phase, and you know what takes place in the post-contract phase. So, are you planning to start a project soon? Feel free to book a free call with me. So let's help you kickstart your project and ensure that what your project gets to a successful completion. So can you can I click a link somewhere around this video and book a free call with me? I'll be waiting to hear from you. So till my next video, I wish you success in your construction projects. Stay blessed.